Hello, Dr. Morris, and this is my film analysis video for the lottery. I watched the lottery, and I'm going to be going through and answering the questions that you gave us to guide our video. So the first question is, what significant issue in education does this film address, and why is this issue significant? It addresses the exclusion from quality education, and it does so by showing how in Harlem a lot of kids, the public school system is very rough. They don't graduate a lot of 8th graders, and their reading levels are really far behind. But then there's these charter schools that do really well and are a lot better, but they can only take in so many, and they have to have a lottery every year. And because of that lottery, it's just a bad situation entirely. And a quote that I heard in the movie was, "Destiny should not be chosen from luck of the draw." And after seeing the lottery, I just think it's sad that they do have to do it. I understand why they do it, but it's just a very bad situation overall. And another issue that it kind of showed was that how the charter versus the public school, it's kind of a contest almost, and I seen how it created a ripple and a separation within the communities of Harlem and the Bronx and all the communities involved. So what schooling population is most affected by this? In the film, it was mostly African American communities. Latino communities are also included in the film, but in general, it'd be low-income communities would be mostly affected by this. So what myths about education does this documentary address, if any? I found that it addresses the myth about how some parents in certain neighborhoods do not care about education. That's a myth, and you do hear that quite often. It's not that they simply don't care, it's that they don't have as many choices as other parents may. And another one that I heard was how kids can't learn if they grow up with troubled lives. That's not true, that's a myth. Some kids, if they have troubled lives, find education to be their escape from that. I went to kids that had troubled home lives, and they excelled in the classroom often, honestly. And then another myth was how the charter school was kind of how their goal is to become a college graduate. I don't disagree with that, but I think that oftentimes college is too emphasized in today. I think if you can go to school and get even a trade job or anything just straight out of high school, I think that that's fine as well. Not that there's anything wrong, but I think that you don't have to have a college degree for everything per se. So what did this documentary teach me that I did not know before? Really something that it showed me and taught me was how much money it took from taxpayers to fire a teacher in New York and in Harlem. And it was $250,000. That number is just kind of very shocking to me, and I understand that creates a very hard situation for administrators to fire a teacher because it does take so much money. Then another thing that I learned was just how much this issue divides communities. I was able to see how it does create this separation and kind of this argument and debate within communities. So really, you're just creating a huge divide in general. Then something else I heard in the film was how spending more tax dollars on prisons than education in New York. The number for the average prisoner yearly was $37,000, which compared to $13,000 for a kid in the education system. And maybe I think if we spent more money on an education annually, that maybe it would even take down from these people that are in prisons. And I think we need to be emphasizing and putting more money into education. I could be wrong. I could be on the complete wrong spectrum of that, but that's just what I believe. And I think it would help with our prison scenario as well. And the last question was, how does this film correspond to or differ from what you learned from resources on this subject matter? Really, I just learned that it was worse than I imagined, and it really divides and separates communities.